Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're coming up with a new video, a critical video for real estate investors. Should you buy your investment property on market or off market? Hey everyone, my name is Waleed Yousif, real estate investor here in the Valley, and in today's video I want to share with you the difference between acquiring property on market versus acquiring it off market. What's the good, what's the bad, what's the drawback. Now for people that don't know, just to give you a background about the difference between the two, right? So on market properties, those are really where publicly advertised. Majority of them, obviously, they're on the MLS, which also goes into other sites like, Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, where it's basically publicly you can go in and take a look and see those properties, which they are accessible to the public. You can check those properties, see how many bedrooms and baths, see the pictures if available, see like the year, the lots, also the neighborhood. So everything is publicly advertised, and you can go and schedule to go and see the property, which we call them showing with the real estate agent. So that's typically on market. Now, off market, it's different because it's more like a private sale, so you're not going to see it advertised publicly. Now there are some sites which they would put those properties, but still there's also kind of like limited information. Like you cannot really easily access those unless maybe you have like an account or a subscription with those sites, so you'll be able to see those off-market properties. And so those are mainly get advertised via private emails or private texts or private calls, and that's where it makes it as private sale off market properties. So those are really the difference between on market and off market, if you're new to the concept. And so in today's video I want to really to address both on market and off market from couple points. One is really the transparency and kind of like the information availability to you as an investor. The second would be more like variety, like how many properties you can take a look, the location, the types of those properties, and also the price, right, and competition, and as well as fees. So those are the 5 things that we're gonna go over, so you'll be able to address the difference between on market and off market. Now to start with the on market, we can start with first like the transparency, right? Obviously everything it's available publicly on. Now again, if you're an agent, you have access to MLS, but if you're just regular investor, you can take a look on those information, which almost majority of those information are available on, as I mentioned, on those sites, Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, or you can ask your real estate agent. They can send you those MLS listing, and you'll be able to see pretty much everything there. There's also a disclosure that the seller sign, which you get to review to see what's going on with the property, as well as I said, you can see and check those information that you have already online before you go and see the property. Now the second point of on-market properties is the variety, right? Because as an investor, you want to purchase investment property at a different location. You may want mobile home, you could want a frame home, you could want just brick home. You have like a price point there, so you want the variety to see more inventory for that. And this is actually good because there are a lot of properties. Majority of them obviously go into on market, so you'll be able to see more variety of properties in different locations with different prices when you're going to acquire property on market. Now the third part is really the competition when it gets on market. Now this is probably good for the seller. Now, to acquire property as when it's on market, there's definitely a lot of competition there, and so that could be like a drawback to investors who are going into acquiring properties on market, because pretty much once it's advertised publicly, everyone really knows about that property, and so the expected competition there could be a little bit higher. There could be also a bidding war, which we will also address it in the price. Now the fourth one, it's really the price, which it makes sense, right? Now, because there is it's advertised publicly, there is basically a lot more competition, that obviously increase the price of that property, right? And that's basically the difference between investor who is looking to fix and flip, and between investor who's looking to do buy and hold, investor who just basically really doing it not for the cash flow, just to for taxes. So each investor would have different evaluation for that investment property, and that kind of like where it sometimes it pushes the price to the retail, or even sometimes more than the retail that is listed for. Now the fifth part is the fees, right, which would be more in the commission, because when you are on market, you obviously have to have for the majority of the time you're gonna have a real estate agent listing the property, and perhaps you also have buyer's agents. So there is that commission that you or the seller would have to basically pay for that commission, as well as the closing costs and those escrow fees, attorney fees that sometimes really gets paid by the buyer, or also it could be paid some of it by the seller. Some of the drawbacks on acquiring properties on market, which we see a lot of investors stay away from, is that the competition. As I mentioned earlier, when you advertise it publicly, this is really available to the public. There's each investor would have different price, or could pay up to the listing price, or even sometimes above listing price for those properties, and that way to create sometimes the drawback and the negative part of investors don't want to go and look for investment properties on market. Now also a drawback would be you don't have like leverage to when you make your offer, because the seller is also looking into other offers as well, and so you most likely you're not the only offer on the table for the most part. Now also another drawback is the fees and the commission, right, which we talked about. Sometimes the fees you would have to pay, the closing costs and the commission to to the agent. Again, that sometimes depending on the deal. As far as the price, now here's also another like a drawback for investors who are going to acquiring properties on market, is that the property could be listed at a price that you want to acquire, and you make that offer for the listing price. However, because sometimes you have multiple offers at the same price, now you really have to give more of the terms, like less of the contingencies, and as well as perhaps even go more on the sales price. And so it's not just the listing price you have to take a look, you basically have to take into consideration the final price for the investment properties that you're looking to acquire. Now on the other side is acquiring property off market, right? So this is more like you're going really direct to the seller from doing those direct to seller marketing. Could be online, could be direct mail, could be calling, or could be also working directly with wholesalers who are doing that marketing and going basically direct to the seller. Now to talk about a little bit more about the acquiring properties off market. So just as we talked about it on market, right? So we have the transparency, we have the variety, we have the competition, we have the price, we have the fee. So if we start with the transparency, now there are some limited information you will get from those, not similar to where you get it on the MLS. So you'll have a little bit of limited information, more to, you know, bedroom and bath, square feet, year build, and maybe, you know, as well as, you know, pictures and other information that could be, you know, provided. Now the second part is the variety of those investment properties. Now, because of majority of those deals go on market, so almost like 5 to 10% of those properties go off market and get sold as a private sale. So you're not going to find a lot of a variety on those off market properties, because they're really, they're not the majority, they're more like the minority of the sale on pretty much majority of the market. Now the last part, which is the most important, is the competition, and that's where really majority of real estate investors look for, right? They don't want to be in competition with other investors. So I mean, there's still competition still going on with off-market properties, but they're definitely significantly less than what it is on market. And that's where basically also it gives you the leverage when you submit your offer. You're more in direct communication with the seller, so you can see maybe what's the motivation, what's the timeline, how can you help besides the price. So you basically, like, you know, you sweeten the deal to the seller, so you make it more enticing for them to accept the offer, because now they're winning on the terms and also on the offer as well. As far as the price, and that's where it makes sense, right? Because there's less competition, and that's where basically create not like a retail price. Obviously you have to do your due diligence, check the price, do comps, and see you know, what you're paying for. But again, those also, you know, are negotiable, and you can, you know, make your offer. However, those, for the majority of part, it's not a retail price, you know, similar to on market. Those are more like a discount price properties and off market private sale. Now the fifth part is the fees, right? So in off market, it's typical that the buyer will pay all the closing costs, which, you know, would be the title and escrow fees when basically selling that property. Now the good thing is that there is no agent commission unless there is a, you know, agent involved. Then obviously the buyer would have to pay that commission. Now there are some drawback on acquiring properties off market. So the first one would be, as we said, it's more like a limited information. You know, it's not like as we mentioned, it's publicly everything available. So those would be more limited information about, you know, like more details about that property. Now as far as the price, that could also be a drawback, because sometimes really you will come across into really not motivated sellers, or really maybe wholesalers who really didn't do their complete due diligence on the property, and so you're basically getting even sometimes retail or over retail price even when it's off market and it needs work. So that's kind of one thing that you have to check on multiple properties to see which one, you know, realistic price that fit your criteria. Now other drawback, which would be that you as an investor, for the most part, you're buying the property in as is condition, and so you would have to really you know, do more of due diligence. So you wanted to go to the property, check the property, inspect the property, bring, let's say, your contractor, your partner, or whoever is basically helping you, get that opinion, making sure that you're acquiring property in a good price that fit your criteria, so you're able to continue in the business. Now as far as fees, now some investors might look at it as well as a drawback, is that an off-market properties buyer pay all the closing costs. So usually it's more like the seller and the buyer side. And that's usually how it's kind of like normally advertised to to the seller. You know, we pay the closing costs and both sides, you know, the seller and the buyer. And so usually if you're going direct to the seller, now you have to pay for that closing cost, or even if you're getting it from a wholesaler, now you're basically paying for all the closing costs and fees. So here you have it, both on market and off market. Now, I hope that helped. If you find any value in this video, please like and subscribe. Also, if you are real estate investor here in the RGV Valley, please feel free to reach us. We acquire properties and off market, and we do you know, assign. We also do fix and flip. We do, you know, rental as well. So would love to network with you. So if you could, please feel free to reach us. Be happy to see what you're looking for, and be happy to send you, let's say if you're looking more for investment properties off market, we'll send you what we have and for you to check and see if any of them are, you know, good fit for you. So until next time, thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.